in our subdivision. I need an ambulance immediately. I have someone down.
Is it a car accident, sir?
It's a car accident, yes. I need you, yes.
Is he unconscious?
Yes.
Okay, are you able to tell if he's breathing?
No, I can't tell right now.
The sport that demands perfection, composure, and consistency has claimed countless careers, not through lack of talent, but through self-destruction. These aren't stories of players who lost their edge. These are cautionary tales of champions who threw it all away. From addiction to scandal, from cheating to catastrophic decisions, these golfers had the world at their feet and watched it crumble beneath them. Let's dive into the 10 golfers who absolutely ruined their own careers. 1. John Daly.
The amount of money that you've said you've lost gambling. You wrote you've lost $55 million gambling.
The $90 million gambler. John Daly should be remembered as a two-time major champion who revolutionized golf with his grip it and rip it style. Instead, he's the cautionary tale of what happens when addiction takes control. Daly won the 1991 PGA Championship as the 9th alternate, driving through the night to get there. 4 years later, he captured the Open Championship at St. Andrews. 2 majors before age 30. The world was his. Then came the gambling, and the drinking, and the complete self-destruction. In 2014, Daly finally admitted what everyone suspected. He'd lost approximately $90 million gambling between 1991 and 2007. Not $9 million, $90 million. He claimed he won back $35 million, leaving a net loss of $55 million, more than 5 times his official PGA Tour career earnings. Daly would sit at blackjack tables with $220,000 on a single hand. He bet up to $50,000 on football games. In 2005, after finishing runner-up at the WGC American Express Championship and earning $750,000, Daly flew straight to Las Vegas and lost $1.5 million on slot machines in one sitting. Stupidity, Daly said, when asked how he managed to blow that much money. That's the only explanation. The gambling addiction fed off his alcoholism, which Daly developed as early as 8 years old. He drank heavily throughout college, struggled with relationships with his coaches, and rarely attended classes. By the late 1990s, his drinking had spiraled completely out of control. In 1997, after a bad round at the Players' Championship, Daly got so drunk at a Hooters that he ended up at Sloppy Joe's drinking Seagrams. He later suffered from delirium tremens and withdrew from the US Open. His coach, Butch Harmon, eventually quit in 2008, saying, "The most important thing in his life is getting drunk." The financial consequences were devastating. By 1999, Daly had to sell his Mercedes and his house in California. He admitted struggling to pay alimony, child support, and basic expenses. Callaway Golf, who had been paying his gambling debts and sponsoring him for millions, finally dropped him when he refused to stay in rehab. He's been married 4 times, with each marriage crumbling under the weight of his addictions. He's faced health issues, including bladder cancer and severe weight fluctuations. Daly's career earnings should have made him wealthy beyond imagination. Instead, he's worth an estimated $2 million today, a fraction of what he should have. The talent that once captivated the golf world got buried under mountains of slot machine losses and empty bottles. He could have been an all-time great. Instead, he's a tragic example of wasted potential. 2. Tiger Woods, the Thanksgiving crash. Tiger Woods is the greatest golfer of his generation and arguably all time. 14 major championships by age 33, 70 PGA Tour wins, the most dominant force the sport had ever seen. And then Thanksgiving 2009 happened and everything changed forever. At 2:30 a.m. on November 27, 2009, Woods crashed his Cadillac Escalade into a fire hydrant and a tree outside his Florida home. His wife, Elin Nordegren, smashed the back window with a golf club and pulled him from the wreckage. Woods was unconscious, bleeding, and had taken Vicodin earlier that night. The official story? a minor accident. The truth? The beginning of the biggest scandal in sports history. Within days, the National Enquirer broke news of an affair with nightclub manager Rachel Yucatel. Then came Jamie Grubbs with voicemails and a 31-month affair. Then another woman, and another. By the time the dust settled, at least 14 women had come forward admitting to sexual relationships with the married father of 2. Waitresses, nightclub hostesses, escorts, a lingerie model, adult film stars. Woods had been living a double life, and it all came crashing down in spectacular fashion. I was unfaithful, I had affairs, I cheated, Woods admitted in a 13-minute televised statement from PGA Tour headquarters. I thought I could get away with whatever I wanted to. I felt I was entitled. The consequences were catastrophic. Elin divorced him in August 2010, reportedly receiving over $100 million in the settlement. Major sponsors, Gatorade, AT&T, Accenture, General Motors, abandoned him. Woods checked into a sexual addiction treatment facility in Mississippi for 45 days. He took an indefinite break from golf to try saving his marriage, but it was too late. When Woods returned to competitive golf, he was a shell of his former self. The intimidation factor was gone. Players no longer feared him. He won 8 times between 2012 and 2013, but couldn't recapture major championship magic. Then came the injuries, 4 back surgeries including spinal fusion, the DUI arrest in 2017 while under the influence of pain medications, the humiliation of falling outside the world's top 1,000 golfers. Yes, Woods eventually won the 2019 Masters in one of sport's greatest comebacks, but his career was fundamentally ruined by that Thanksgiving crash. He went from untouchable icon to damaged goods. From 14-0 when leading majors after 54 holes to never winning another major after the scandal until 2019. 10 years later, the man who could have broken Jack Nicklaus's 18 majors by age 40 ended up stuck at 15. The greatest golfer of all time destroyed his own legacy because he couldn't stay faithful to his wife. 3. Dustin Johnson, the mysterious suspensions. Dustin Johnson is one of the most naturally gifted golfers alive. 6'4", bombs at 340 yards, 2 major championships, world number 1. But his career could have been so much more if not for mysterious leaves of absence and whispered suspensions that nobody wants to talk about publicly. In August 2014, Johnson abruptly announced he was taking a voluntary leave of absence from professional golf to address personal challenges. The official statement from his management company was vague and corporate. The reality, according to multiple reports, Johnson had been suspended by the PGA Tour after testing positive for cocaine. This wasn't his first offense. Reports suggested it was his 3rd failed drug test, following positive tests for marijuana in 2009 and cocaine in 2012. The PGA Tour and Johnson both denied the suspension, maintaining the fiction of a voluntary break. But the timing was suspicious. Johnson missed the playoffs. He disappeared for 6 months. When he returned in 2015, he looked tentative, unsure, and didn't win for nearly 2 years. The swagger was gone. But drugs weren't Johnson's only problem. Rumors have plagued him throughout his career about alleged affairs with the wives of fellow PGA Tour players. Golf insiders whisper about at least 2 marriages that didn't survive Johnson's alleged involvement. Unlike Tiger Woods, who at least had the decency to chase women outside the golf world, Johnson supposedly kept it close to home, sleeping with colleagues' wives while engaged to Paulina Gretzky, daughter of hockey legend Wayne Gretzky. Johnson's 2014 suspension cost him prime years of his career. He was 30 years old, in his athletic prime, and forced to sit out 6 months. When he finally won the 2016 US Open, it felt like redemption, but also a reminder of how much time he'd wasted. He should have 5 or 6 majors by now. Instead, he has 2, and his decision to join LIV Golf in 2022 has further tarnished his legacy. The saddest part? Johnson had all the talent in the world and threw away his prime years because he couldn't stay away from cocaine and allegedly couldn't keep it in his pants. That's a career ruined by self-inflicted wounds. 4. Phil Mickelson, the gambling addict. Phil Mickelson is a 6-time major champion, a fan favorite, and one of the most beloved players in golf history. He's also allegedly lost over $100 million gambling and got caught up in an insider trading scandal that should have landed him in prison. Phil the Thrill, more like Phil the Gambler. In 2016, the Securities and Exchange Commission alleged that Mickelson made $931,000 after purchasing stock based on an insider trading tip from professional gambler Billy Walters. Mickelson wasn't criminally charged. He was named a relief defendant, but he had to pay back all ill-gotten gains plus interest, totaling over $1 million. The scandal exposed Mickelson's close relationship with Walters, a notorious sports bettor who was later sentenced to 5 years in prison. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. In 2023, Billy Walters published a book claiming Mickelson had accumulated over $100 million in gambling losses throughout his career. $100 million. Mickelson disputed the exact amount, but he didn't deny having a serious gambling problem. Reports suggest Phil bet enormous sums on football, basketball, and anything else he could wager on. His gambling debts allegedly influenced his decision to join LIV Golf for a reported $200 million. He needed the cash infusion to cover losses. Mickelson's relationship with gambling became so toxic that it overshadowed his golf achievements. When he won the 2021 PGA Championship at age 50, it should have been a feel-good story about defying Father Time. Instead, it raised questions. How much of that prize money will he gamble away? His infamous comments about a LIV Golf being run by scary motherfuckers, but joining anyway for the money exposed him as someone willing to sell his soul, literally partnering with Saudi Arabia despite their human rights record, because he needed to pay off debts. Mickelson's legacy is now forever tarnished. He's not remembered as a 6-time major champion. He's remembered as the guy who gambled away a fortune, got caught in an insider trading scheme, and then joined a controversial Saudi-backed golf league because he was desperate for money. That's a ruined career built on bad decisions and worse judgment. 5. Jane Blalock, the cheating scandal that destroyed a legend. Jane Blalock could have been remembered as one of the LPGA's greatest players. Instead, she's synonymous with cheating, a cautionary tale about how one decision can destroy an entire legacy. Blalock was the leading money earner on the women's tour in 1972. 26 years old, dominant, talented, and according to multiple witnesses, she'd been cheating basically from the beginning of her career. At the 1972 Bluegrass Invitational, Blalock improperly marked her ball on the 17th hole and failed to assess herself a 2-stroke penalty. She wasn't even in contention for the lead. She did it anyway, out of habit. The LPGA had been watching her for over a year. Multiple players had reported seeing her move her ball on numerous occasions. Officials called her in for serious meetings. They had witnesses. They had evidence. And in 1972, they finally suspended her for 1 year and fined her $500. Blalock's response? She sued the LPGA for $5 million, claiming defamation and wrongful suspension. The lawsuit exposed ugly truths about the women's tour, that other players had been complaining about Blalock for years, but nothing had been done, that the LPGA had protected her because she was a star, that when they finally acted, she tried to destroy the organization rather than accept responsibility. Blalock's reputation never recovered. Yes, she went on to win 27 LPGA events and holds the tour record with 299 consecutive cuts made. But every accomplishment is viewed through the lens of that cheating scandal. Did she cheat to make all those cuts? How many tournaments did she steal through illegal ball movement? She's not in the Hall of Fame. She's not celebrated as a pioneer. She's remembered as the woman who couldn't play by the rules and then tried to sue her way out of consequences. A career that could have been legendary became a punchline, all because she couldn't resist the urge to move her ball a few inches when nobody was looking. 6. Patrick Reed Claude, Captain America becomes Captain Cheater. Patrick Reed won the 2018 Masters. He should be celebrated as a major champion. Instead, he's despised by fellow players, banned from most team events, and known primarily for cheating accusations that follow him everywhere. Reed didn't just ruin his career, he torched every bridge along the way. The defining moment came at the 2019 Hero World Challenge, when cameras caught Reed clearly improving his lie in a bunker. He took multiple practice swings, each time moving sand away from his ball. Officials immediately assessed a 2-stroke penalty. Reed blamed camera angles and claimed he did nothing wrong. Fellow pros weren't buying it. Rory McIlroy said Reed was guilty. Brooks Koepka made pointed comments about integrity. The nickname Captain America became Captain Cheater overnight. But Reed's problems started long before that bunker incident. His college career at Georgia was marred by allegations of cheating and stealing from teammates. He transferred to Augusta State under a cloud of suspicion. Throughout his professional career, whispers followed him about questionable ball placements, convenient rulings, and bending rules. The 2019 incident just confirmed what everyone suspected. Reed's decision to join LPGA Golf in 2022 further destroyed his reputation. He became one of the league's most vocal defenders, while simultaneously suing former PGA Tour players and media members for defamation. His lawyer sent Rory McIlroy a cease and desist letter over comments about Reed's rules violations. Imagine being so litigious that you're threatening lawsuits over trash talk. Reed's career is now defined by controversy. He's unwelcome in team golf settings. Former Ryder Cup teammates openly dislike him. He won a major championship, but nobody respects him. That's a career ruined not by lack of talent, but by a toxic combination of arrogance, questionable ethics, and an inability to understand why everyone can't stand him. 7. Sergio Garcia, the perpetual meltdown machine. Sergio Garcia had all the talent in the world. He burst onto the scene in 1999 at the PGA Championship, running and jumping after his ball at the 16th hole in a moment that captured golf's imagination. He was 19 years old, fearless, and destined for greatness. 25 years later, he's remembered more for on-course meltdowns, cheating accusations, and burning every relationship in professional golf. Garcia's biggest problem? He couldn't control his temper. At the 2013 WGC Cadillac Championship, he damaged 5 greens by slamming his putter into the putting surface in frustration. Officials considered disqualifying him for serious misconduct, but ultimately let him continue. It wasn't an isolated incident. Garcia had a history of club throwing, green damaging, and tantrum throwing that made him look like a spoiled child. Then came the racist comment. In 2017, just weeks after finally winning the Masters and breaking through for his first major, Garcia made a joke about Tiger Woods at a European Tour dinner. When asked if he'd have Woods for dinner during US Open week, Garcia replied, "We'll have him round every night. We will serve fried chicken." The room went silent. Garcia later apologized, claiming it was a joke taken out of context, but the damage was done. The comment revealed an ugly side of Sergio that many suspected existed. His decision to join LPGA Golf in 2022 destroyed his friendship with Rory McIlroy and cost him his Ryder Cup legacy. Garcia is Europe's all-time leading point scorer in the competition. He should be celebrated as a continental hero. Instead, he was left off the 2023 team, with many believing Rory influenced the decision. Garcia's text message to Rory, telling him to shut up about live blah blah blah, burned that bridge permanently. Garcia finally won a major at age 37, but it came after decades of heartbreak and self-inflicted wounds. He should be in the conversation as one of Europe's greatest players. Instead, he's remembered as the guy who couldn't handle pressure, made racist comments, and chose Saudi money over legacy. That's a career ruined by poor decisions and worse temperament. 8. Ian Poulter, the Ryder Cup warrior who sold out. Ian Poulter built his entire identity around being a Ryder Cup warrior. He thrived in the team environment, delivered clutch putts for Europe, and positioned himself as someone who valued competition and camaraderie above all else. Then, Live Golf waved a check in his face, and all those principles disappeared. Poulter joined Live Save Golf in June 2022, sacrificing his PGA Tour and DP World Tour status for guaranteed money. The move directly jeopardized his Ryder Cup eligibility, the competition he claimed to love more than anything. Rory McIlroy said he felt betrayed by Poulter's decision. If the Ryder Cup meant as much to Poulter as he always said, how could he gamble with his future participation for a paycheck? What made it worse was Poulter's response. He filed lawsuits against the PGA Tour and DP World Tour, claiming they had no right to suspend him. He argued he should be able to play Live Golf while maintaining his status on other tours. Fellow players saw it as having your cake and eating it too. You can't actively try to destroy the PGA Tour through litigation while demanding access to their events. Poulter's 2024 Ryder Cup status remains uncertain, but even if he's eligible, the damage is done. His legacy as a Ryder Cup hero is tarnished. He chose money over the competition he claimed to cherish. That hypocrisy ruined what should have been a celebrated career. Instead of being remembered as Europe's fiery warrior, he'll be remembered as the guy who sold out for Saudi cash. 9. Dustin Johnson, continued issues, the DUI, and everything else. We already discussed DJ's drug suspensions, but his problems didn't end there. Johnson's arrest patterns, alleged affairs, and complete lack of accountability make him a repeat offender on this list. In 2012, Johnson took a leave of absence to work on his game, which many interpreted as another suspension cover story. The pattern of mysterious breaks from golf became impossible to ignore. Johnson's biggest issue isn't talent, it's that he seemingly learned nothing from his mistakes. Each suspension should have been a wake-up call. Instead, he returned to the same habits, same lifestyle, same problems. His decision to join LIV Golf for a reported $125 million felt like the ultimate sellout, taking guaranteed money because he couldn't hack it in legitimate competition anymore. The saddest part? Johnson had the physical gifts to be the most dominant player of his generation. Instead, he'll be remembered as someone who wasted his prime years on drugs and bad decisions. 10. Greg Norman, the architect of his own destruction. Greg Norman was supposed to be golf's golden boy. The Shark had movie star looks, an Australian accent, and a game that captivated millions. He won 2 Open Championships and 91 professional tournaments worldwide. But Norman is remembered more for historic collapses and poor decisions than victories. The 1996 Masters defined Norman's career. He led by 6 shots heading into Sunday and lost to Nick Faldo by 5. It was the most catastrophic final round collapse in major championship history. Norman shot 78 while Faldo posted 67. Instead of cementing his legacy with a 3rd major, Norman became synonymous with choking under pressure. But the real career destruction came decades later when Norman became CEO of LIV Golf. He positioned himself as the face of a Saudi-backed golf league, defending the regime despite its human rights record. His aggressive tactics, inflammatory comments, and inability to build bridges made him toxic. In January 2025, LIV Golf quietly replaced him as CEO, a humiliating end to his tenure. Norman's legacy is now forever tied to LIV Golf's controversies. Instead of being celebrated as a champion, he's viewed as a sellout who partnered with a government implicated in journalist murders for a paycheck. That's how you ruin a Hall of Fame career. These golfers had everything: talent, opportunity, championships within reach. But addiction, scandal, poor judgment, and self-destructive behavior destroyed what could have been legendary careers. They serve as reminders that in golf, as in life, talent alone isn't enough. You need discipline, integrity, and the ability to make good decisions when nobody's watching. What do you think? Which golfer ruined their career the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.